Hi, John. My name is Robyn, and I'm a rising senior drama major at your alma mater, Kenyon College. In light of all the discussion about your new book coming out, I would like to volunteer myself to read the audiobook for The Fault in Our Stars. To audition, I've prepared a brief excerpt to read from Looking for Alaska. Not to ask the obvious question, but why Alaska? I asked. I'd just gotten my pre-calc test back, and I was awash with admiration for Alaska, since her tutoring had paved my way to a B+. She and I sat alone in the TV lounge, watching MTV on a drearily cloudy Saturday. Furnished with couches left behind by previous generations of Culver Creek students, the TV room had the musty air of dust and mildew, and perhaps for that reason was almost perennially unoccupied. Alaska took a sip of Mountain Dew and grabbed my hand in hers. Always comes up eventually. All right, so my mom was something of a hippie when I was a kid. You know, wore oversized sweaters she knitted herself, smoked a lot of pot, etc. And my dad was a real Republican type. And so when I was born, my mom wanted to name me Harmony Springs Young, and my dad wanted to name me Mary Frances Young. As she talked, she bobbed her head back and forth to the MTV music, even though the song was the kind of manufactured pop ballad she professed to hate. So instead of naming me Harmony or Mary, they agreed to let me decide. So when I was little, they called me Mary. I mean, they called me Sweetie or whatever, but like on school forms and stuff, they wrote Mary Young. And then on my 7th birthday, my present was that I got to pick my name. Cool, huh? So I spent the whole day looking at my dad's globe for a really cool name. And so my first choice was Chad, like the country in Africa. But then my dad said that was a boy's name, so I picked Alaska. I wish my parents had let me pick my name, but they went ahead and picked the only name firstborn male halters have had for a century. But why Alaska? I asked her. She smiled with the right side of her mouth. Well, later I found out what it means. It's from an Aleut word, Alyeska. It means that which the sea breaks against, and I love that. But at the time, I just saw Alaska up there, and it was big, just like I wanted to be, and it was damn far away from Vine Station, Alabama, just like I wanted to be. I laughed. And now you're all grown up and fairly far away from home, I said, smiling. So congratulations. She stopped the head bobbing and let go of my unfortunately sweaty hand. Getting out isn't that easy, she said seriously, her eyes on mine like I knew the way out and wouldn't tell her. And then she seemed to switch conversational horses in midstream. Like after college, know what I want to do? Teach disabled kids. I'm a good teacher, right? Shit, if I can teach you pre-calc, I can teach anybody. Like maybe kids with autism. She talked softly and thoughtfully, like she was telling me a secret, and I leaned in toward her, suddenly overwhelmed with the feeling that we must kiss, that we ought to kiss right now on the dusty orange couch with its cigarette burns and its decades of collected dust. And I would have. I would have kept leaning toward her until it became necessary to tilt my face so as to miss her ski-slope nose, and I would have felt the shock of her so-soft lips. I would have. But then she snapped out of it. No, she said, and I couldn't tell at first whether she was reading my kiss-obsessed mind or responding to herself out loud. She turned away from me, and softly, maybe to herself, said, Jesus, I'm not going to be one of those people who sits around talking about what they're going to do. I'm just going to do it. Imagining the future is a kind of nostalgia. Huh? I asked. You spend your whole life stuck in the labyrinth, thinking about how you'll escape it one day, and how awesome it will be, and imagining that future keeps you going, but you never do it. You just use the future to escape the present. I guess that made sense. I had imagined that life at the creek would be a bit more exciting than it was. In reality, there'd been more homework than adventure. But if I hadn't imagined it, I never would have gotten to the creek at all. She turned back to the TV, a commercial for a car now, and made a joke about Blue Citrus needing its own car commercial. Mimicking the deep-voiced passion of commercial voiceovers, she said, It's small, it's slow, and it's shitty, but it runs. Sometimes. Blue Citrus. See your local used car dealer. But I wanted to talk more about her and Vine Station and the future. Sometimes I don't get you, I said. She didn't even glance at me. She just smiled toward the television and said, "You never get me. That's the whole point." Thank you very much.